Welcome back, everybody. Gonzalez Brothers Entertainment, and finally, we're back with our first movie review of 2018. And what I mean by that, it's the first movie that's been out. It's out right now. You can check out, and that's Black Panther. It was supposed to drop yesterday. Our review, that is. We were having a little bit of lighting issues. I think we solved those problems, and here we are with today's review. Eric, plot and story, thoughts, go.
When walking into this movie, none of us know what this movie was going to be about. We were like, alright, I just want to have a fun MCU movie. And yes, the plot is convincing. It's great. It's going at the right pace. Sometimes it slows down a bit, but all in all, I love this movie. It's another great MCU movie.
When this movie initially starts, I could not believe what we were watching. It did not feel like a comic book movie. It's a great setup to what's to come in the rest of the film. And I'm really glad that the studio gave Ryan Coogler the power to do what he wanted to do with this film. And it's very evident when you sit down to watch it. It's like it comes across clearly. Characters, performances. What's the standout for you?
I like Chadwick Boseman in this movie. I also like them in Civil War. You could see the Blu-ray in the background. And I just loved Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. He's by far one of the best villains in the MCU, and I liked his performance too. If I were to ever stand up against him, you have full right to call me a coward. And what did I think about the woman in Wakanda? They're all bad A. I love the performances, and yeah, they're just great characters.
Like Eric said, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger is a clear standout for me. He's probably one of my favorite thing about this film. You understand his pain, his anger, his frustration. His arc is clear from beginning to end, and it was just wonderful to see such a intimidating and awesome villain in the MCU, because sometimes we don't always get that. Also, Chadwick Boseman, his second come around as T'Challa, was pretty good. It's the way he carries himself as a king, but kind of quiet, but he has the ability to turn it up a notch when he has to. And finally, the Dora Milaje were freaking awesome. They get one of the best action sequences in the film. Although we don't get like a lot of their backstory, we get enough to where we want to see them again and to where we care what happens to them in the story. So, let's talk about action sequences. What was a standout for you in this category?
Some of the action scenes were really cool. The final battle was great, and a lot of the action scenes were cool. And when watching this movie in IMAX too, it felt like I was actually there in the actual scene. And if you're gonna see this movie, I recommend that you see this movie in IMAX. That'll be the best way to experience this movie.
For me, as far as action sequences go, some of my favorites have to be the ones in the middle, where they're very small in scale, but it's the fact that they are small in scale that makes it feel more brutal, more personal. You're really invested in the outcome of this stuff, and when you're sitting there almost at the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen next, that's what really made it stood out for me. So now let's get into what was your clear standout of the entire movie, your favorite part of the movie?
One of the action scenes in the middle, I won't spoil it for you, but I'm just going to say it was a great action scene. And also they had the Vince Staples song playing in the background. I really liked Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. I just love this movie. The way it is, it's just a great movie. It's also really fun, too.
I really have to double down on what I said about Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. He's just great, you guys. Like, truly intimidating. Everything about what he's trying to do comes across clearly. It's not the right thing to do, and it's probably the wrong way to handle it, but you really understand his anger, his frustration, and where he's coming from. And it was a very cool arc that he got in this film. Also, I don't know if we're talking about the same action sequence, but it's somewhere there in the middle. I don't want to say too much about it, but it just leaves you on the edge of your seat and you're like wondering what's going to come next. So, what's up as far as negatives? Your biggest negative in this movie?
I don't really have too much negatives. My first negative is sometimes it just like slows down a bit. And also another negative I have, it's not that big, but it's like a small negative, but it still bothered me. From the soundtrack, you have a face like, oh, there's going to be so many Kendrick Lamar raps in this movie, but no, there's not a lot. They just play bits and pieces, and sometimes they actually just play the full song, but they just play bits and pieces of it. And yeah, that was just a disappointment for me.
My biggest negative has to be I don't have many negatives about this movie, and it might be a minor thing in the great scheme of the entire film, but I felt that there was a character in there who we really didn't need, and I felt was more of a token character. And I have to wonder out loud if Ryan Coogler really wanted him in there, or was this more of a studio interference? Perhaps not. I mean, I felt like the movie could have gone without him, and he doesn't really take away other than it just it might feel a little forced to me at least, and that's my only negative really about this film. So there you have it, guys. That's our Black Panther spoiler-free review. I will be doing a spoiler review, but it'll be sometime before we drop that one. It's gonna come up when the Black Panther turn comes up in the countdown to Infinity War. So it's gonna be a while for that. So just make sure that you're subscribed. You hit the bell. You get the alerts.
And also, stay tuned for our countdown to Infinity War for the first Avenger on a Sunday. And later this weekend, we're going to have a surprise video coming. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. And this is GBE saying bye-bye.